Hey everybody, welcome back to Brainiac Baseball's 1981 Detroit Tigers season replay. Today's matchup is between the New York Yankees and the Detroit Tigers at Tiger Stadium. On the mound for the Yankees is Ron Guidry, whose record is 2-0 with a 1.20 ERA. And pitching for Detroit today is Jack Morris, whose record is 1-0 with a 2.76 ERA. And so we have quite a great matchup today. We have Ron Guidry and Jack Morris, both aces for their team. And it's going to be a tough one because yesterday we were shut out 5-0. And in addition to that, we lost Milt Wilcox for 2 starts. So we put Wilcox on the IL and we brought up Bruce Robbins, who got a late season cup of coffee with Detroit and pitched really well, making a few starts once Jim Bibby was injured. And so he'll pitch tomorrow in the first game of the Mariners series. So let's get started with today's game. Hopefully we can bounce back against the lefty Ron Guidry. As always, I appreciate everyone following along. Like and subscribe if you are enjoying this content. Cappy will not be available out of the bullpen today. He pitched a couple innings in relief, and he's already got 10 innings in the second week of the season. That's probably not good, but it's certainly indicative of our starting pitching. And as you can see, there's Jack pitching today for us. And because Guidry is a lefty, we have our lineup versus lefties in there. I'm going to give Lou Whitaker the day off. He's actually not been hitting very well. So we're going to put Mark Wagner at second base today. Wagner got a start in yesterday's game as well. And since Whitaker's not playing, we're going to put Dave Stegman in the leadoff role. And Wagner, as I said, will bat ninth and play second base for us. So, and it looks like the Yankees have shuffled their lineup a little bit as well. Let's go ahead and do the Yankee lineup, and then we'll talk a little bit about Jack Morris. Batting leadoff and playing right field today is Rupert Jones. Batting second and at third base is Joe LaFave. Batting third and catching is Ron Hassey. Batting cleanup and DHing is Dennis Worth. Batting fifth and in left field is Oscar Gamble. Batting sixth and at first base is Chris Chambliss. Batting seventh and in center field is Bobby Brown. Batting eighth and at second base is Brian Doyle. And batting ninth at shortstop is Bucky freaking Dent. On the mound for the Tigers is Jack Morris, making his third start of the year. He's 1-0 with a 2.76 ERA. Opponents are only batting 196 against him. Strikeout total is kind of low after 2 starts. But he's the only starter that's been doing anything for us. He was 15-12 last year. Really pitched better than that, in fact. But like all of our starters, we had a late season swoon, and his ERA ballooned up to 4.11. So we need a good start from him today, as we have been struggling. And here's Rupert Jones leading off. As Jones hits a blooper in the left center field, it will be caught by Steve Kemp in left field. So 1 down, here's Joe LaFave. LaFave hits a ground ball to Wagner at second. And that is 2 down. Next up is Ron Hassey. Ron Hassey hits a ground ball to Wagner. And a 1-2-3 inning for Ron Guidry. For Jack Morris. And here's a lineup for the Tigers today. As I mentioned, Dave Stegman getting a start in center field today and batting leadoff. Batting second and at short is Alan Trammell. Batting third and at first base is Jason Thompson. Batting cleanup in left field is Steve Kemp. Batting fifth and doing the catching today is Lance Parish. Batting sixth and DHing is Barry Bunnell. Batting 7th and in right field is Gary Hancock. Batting 8th and at third base is Tom Brookins. And batting 9th and at second base is Mark Wagner. And here you can see the defensive lineup for the Tigers today. I'm sorry, for the Yankees today. And here's Ron Guidry. Ron Guidry off to a really good start, 2-0 with that 1.20 ERA. He missed 3 months of the season, the end of the year really, and just missed qualifying for the ERA title, which he would have won. But he had a 2.94 ERA and struck out 109 in those 159 innings pitched. Ron Guidry was a third-round draft pick in 1971 out of University of Louisiana. His nickname was Louisiana Lightning, and some people called him Gator, so he had a couple really great nicknames. He was the 1978 Cy Young Award winner, going 25-3, and 6 other times in his career he got was in the top 7 for Cy Young voting. He finished second in the MVP voting in 1978, and 5 other times he received MVP votes. He was a 5-time Gold Glove winner, 4-time All-Star, 2-time World Series champ in 77 and 78. But the most he ever received in Hall of Fame votings was in 2000, when he got 8.8% of the voting. If he were to be elected at any point, he would have had the 4th lowest wins, career wins, with 170. In 1984, he threw a perfect inning, which at the time was the 8th time done in the American League. And then late in his career, he suffered shoulder and elbow injuries, retiring in 1989, and he became the Yankees pitching coach for 2 years. And so he still is part of the Yankees franchise. He is a special assistant to Brian Cashman right now. And so here is Dave Stegman leading off against Ron Guidry here in the bottom of the first. Stegman hits a ground ball to short and is gunned down by Bucky Dent. Next up is Alan Trammell. There we go, base hit to right center field. And Trammell's got himself a double. So runner in scoring position for JT. Thompson had the day off yesterday. He's been struggling early on this season. And he hits a ground ball back to Guidry, and although he's a Gold Glover, he throws the ball away. And Trammell scores from first, so the Tigers have a early 1-0 lead. Thompson at first. That'll bring up Steve Kemp. Kemp rips it to right field for a base hit. And Thompson advances to third, so first and third. With Lance Parish up, we have the makings of a rally here. Parish did lead the team in grounding into double plays last year. But he gets a line drive to left field, base hit. Runner scores, and we are not going to take that extra base at third, as Gamble was a Gold Glove winner last year, and he's got a rifle out there in left field. So we're going to say no, keep Kemp at second base, and it's 2-0. So here's Barry Bonnell, 5 for 15 against Guidry, and he batted .325 versus lefties last year. And he hits a ground ball right to short, and they turn 2. And that'll end the bottom of the first. Tigers have a 2-0 lead. Here is Dennis Worth leading off against Jack here in the second. And Worth pops it straight up, and Trammell makes the play right next to the second base bag. So 1 down. Oscar Gamble is up next. He hits a ground ball right back to Morris. He fields it cleanly. 2 down for Chris Chambliss, 0 for 6 against Morris. And Chambliss hits a ground ball to Trammell, and another 1-2-3 inning. We go to the bottom of the second. Gary Hancock will lead off. Hancock, we usually sit versus lefties, but he's already had a home run against a lefty this year, so as long as he's hitting well, we're going to keep him in the lineup. And he hits a ground ball to Chambliss at first. That's going to be the first out. Next up is Brookins, getting a start today at third. And he strikes out, swinging. First K for Guidry. So with 2 down, here's Mark Wagner. Wagner, base hit to left field. Wagner had the first hit for the Tigers yesterday in his spot start at short. And so a 2-game hitting streak for Wagner, I guess. So 2 down. Here's Stegman. Stegman's going to walk. He does have a really good eye, and that's why Stegman was the everyday center fielder for Detroit last year. So runners at first and second. Has some decent speed on the bags as Trammell steps in and hits a ground ball right to second. And Doyle makes the play. So we can't capitalize on the runners at first and second. And we go to the top of the third. Bobby Brown leading off the inning. Brown getting a spot start today in center. He's 1 for 3 on the season so far. And Brown gets a base hit to right. That'll be the first hit for the Yankees today. Dan Petrie pitched 5 1/3 hitless innings yesterday. And then the Yankees took it to him after that, scoring 5 runs. Brian Doyle hits a ground ball to third, and they try to turn 2, but they can only get the runner at second base. So 1 down, Doyle on first for Bucky Dent, and Dent walks. So the first walk for Morris. Morris is at 30 pitches. And we go back to the top of the lineup with Rupert Jones. Jones hits a ground ball to Thompson, and they turn 2. And that'll end the inning. We go to the bottom half of the third. Tigers winning 2-0, and here is JT leading off. And Thompson draws a walk. So, runner on first. We're going to hit and run. Try to stay out of the double play. Thompson has terrible speed, and as I say that, he steals second base. I don't see a pitch there, so I don't know how that happened. But we'll take a stolen base. Did Thompson even have one last year? Let's take a quick look. He did have 2 stolen bases. In fact, he hasn't been thrown out in almost 3 seasons, so he's crafty. He picks his spots, I guess we'll say. And then a wild pitch moves Thompson to third. So Thompson aggressive on the base pass. Oh, and then Kemp strikes out swinging. I would normally try to hit a sac fly here, but again, I don't assume Thompson will score. As Parish hits a ground ball back to Guidry. Guidry goes home and gets Thompson. So a wasted opportunity there, as that's the second out. Barry Bonnell with 2 down. Parish at first. Walk. So Guidry, wild pitch, 3 walks so far. So he's been all over the place. Runner at first and second now for Gary Hancock. And on a full count, he pops it up. And it carries all the way to center field, actually. And that will be the third out. So another wasted opportunity for Detroit. And they do have a 2-0 lead here in the top of the fourth. Joe Lefebvre will lead off the inning, and he walks. 2 walks for Morris and no Ks. So, runner on first for Ron Hasse. Hasse hits it right back to Morris, and they get the lead runner at second base. 1 down for Dennis Worth. Worth 4 for 11 with a home run against Morris. And Morris walks Worth. So I guess Morris is effectively wild as Oscar Gamble steps in, hits a ground ball to Thompson, and Thompson turns a double play again. So that Gold Glove flashing its brilliance as we go to the bottom of the fourth. 2-0 Detroit. Here's Tommy Brookins, 3 for 8 on the young season, and he hits a fly ball to center field. That's caught by Brown. Guidry, 52 pitches here in the fourth. Next up is Mark Wagner. And Wagner hits a fly ball to center field. Caught by Brown. That's 2 down. Now go back to the top of the lineup with Dave Stegman, and Stegman hits a home run to left center field. Great job by Steggy. First this year, and he did have 4 last year in that limited duty before he got injured and missed the rest of the season. So 3-0 Detroit. Trammell with 2 down hits a ground ball to second, and Doyle makes the play. That'll end the inning. We go to the top of the fifth. 3-0 Detroit. Morris, despite the 3 walks, has only given up 1 hit. And just as I say that, Chambliss gets a base hit to right field. Runner on first for Bobby Brown. And full count, and Morris walks his 4th batter. That is frustrating. 4 walks against no strikeouts, and here is Brian Doyle. We're going to bring the outfield in. And Doyle gets a base hit to left, falls in front of Kemp, and the run scores from second. So first and third, nobody out. Here's Bucky Dent. And he walks Dent. I don't know why our starters can't get through 5. We're going to pull the infield in against the leadoff man, Jones. Jones usually bats 8th in the lineup. And Jones hits a grand slam. Jeez, that is unbelievable. That's Jones' first home run of the year, and I believe he had a grand slam against us last year. Nope, that's his first grand slam. So, Tigers are now down 5-3, and Joe LaFave will step in, and he strikes out. So there's that K that we needed earlier. 1 down for Morris, and Hassey gets a base hit to center. So this will likely be the last batter, as he's the last righty in the lineup before we get to this run of lefties. So we're going to take out Morris, who, I don't know what to say about that performance. I mean, he only gave up a couple hits, but he just couldn't get anybody out throwing those 5 walks. We're going to bring in Schatzy and let him pitch to Oscar Gamble, who only bats .214 versus lefties. And Gamble pops it up into foul ground on the first base side. So there's one, that was the 3rd out, and that'll end the inning. We go to the bottom of the 5th, and here's JT leading off against Guidry, and Guidry walks his 4th batter, so neither starting pitcher has had any control today. That will bring up Kemp, who bloops it into center field. It's going to be caught by Brown. Thompson remains at first. 1 down for Parish. Parish hits a ground ball right back to Guidry. And he turns a double play this time. We go to the top of the 6th. We're going to turn it over to the in-game stats. And I guess we would have to say that player of the game so far is going to be Stegman with that home run. So here is Chris Chambliss, leading off against Schatzy at the top of the 6th. Chambliss hits a ground ball to Wagner. There's one down. Up next is Bobby Brown. He's a switch hitter. He's going to turn around and bat righty. He bats .323 versus lefties. And Schatzy walks Brown. Man, that is 6 walks for Tiger pitchers. So runner on first for Brian Doyle. Doyle hits a ground ball to Trammell. Can they turn 2? Oh, Trammell boots it. And everybody's safe. That will bring up Bucky Dent, who bats .292 versus lefties. Dent hits a ground ball to Trammell. Fields it cleanly this time, but they can only get the runner at second base. So 2 down. Here's Rupert Jones. He had that grand salami last inning. And Schatzy shuts him down with a strikeout. We go to the bottom of the 6th. 5-3 Yankees. Barry Bonnell, 0 for 1 with a walk today. Flips it to right. And plays made by the right fielder, Rupert Jones. 1 down. Next up is Gary Hancock. Hancock strikes out looking. That is something you don't see very often. Is a Hancock strikeout. 2 down for Brookins, and Brookins hits a ground ball to second, and Bucky Dent boots it. So, that was Brian Doyle. Brian Doyle switched to second today, and Dent is at short. So, Doyle playing out of position, boots the ball. Brookins takes second base, and here's Mark Wagner with a runner in scoring position. Ground ball to third, and that'll end the inning. So we go to the top of the 7th. Tigers down 5-3. Schatzy pitching fairly decent. I guess we're going to let him pitch to these 2 lefties. LaFave, leading off the inning, hits a ground ball to first. 1 down for Hassey. Hassey ground ball to short. And Trammell makes the play there. So we're going to take out Schatzy, pitching 2 scoreless innings of relief. And we're going to bring in, Bob Stanley to get this righty out. So Dennis Worth batting .247 versus righties, and Stanley, of course, walks him. Stanley sucks. We're going to bring in Pat Underwood, with Oscar Gamble being a lefty and all. And Gamble's going to pop it up into foul ground, and Parish makes the play. We go to the bottom of the 7th. They're going to pull Guidry from the game, and they're going to bring in Kurt Kaufman. And this is his 2nd game of the year. He made 27 appearances last year in relief, 3-3 on the season, with a 4.19 ERA. Opponents batted only .253 against him, and he did have a save. This is a manufactured baseball card from Jeremy DeJong. Pretty good job. You can tell that whatever hat he was wearing, that it wasn't a Yankees hat, but a pretty damn good job of making him look like he was on the Yankees. So kudos to Jeremy. He did a great job with all these manufactured cards. In fact, the Dave Stegman card here is a manufactured card as well. Normally, I would bring in a lefty to face Kaufman, but Stegman does have a home run today, so we're going to give him a chance to hit. And he flies out to center. So 1 down for Trammell. And Trammell hits a ground ball to first. There's 2 down. And a chance for Thompson to do some damage here. And he strikes out swinging. So we go to the top of the 8th. 5-3 Yankees. Not a lot going on these last 3 innings for Detroit. We're going to leave Underwood in there to face Chambliss. Chambliss hits a ground ball to Brookins. There's 1 down. Next up is Bobby Brown, 1 for 1 with 2 walks today. And Brown hits the ground ball to Thompson. Here's the second out. That'll bring up Brian Doyle with 2 down. And Doyle hits a ground ball to Wagner. And that'll end the inning. We go to the bottom of the 8th. Steve Kemp leading off. They're going to bring in Goose Gossage here for a 2-inning save. Goose was an all-star last year for the Yankees. He had 23 saves in relief, 23 out of 32 opportunities. He was 8-3 in relief with a 2.14 ERA. Pitched 75 innings. He had 46 Ks. Opponents only batted 198 against him. And this year he's got 2 saves. This is his 4th appearance. So Goose is in there. And Steve Kemp is going to lead off the inning. Oh, he strikes out swinging. There's 1 down. Next up is Lance Parish, 1 for 2 against Gossage in his career. And he flips it to right. Oh, I thought that was going to fall in, but it doesn't as Jones makes the catch in right field. And we're going to take out Bunnell. We're going to bring in Gibby to pinch hit against Goose Gossage, and that's a pretty famous matchup, as you may remember Gossage hitting a home run against Goose when Goose was on the Padres. And Gibson hits a ground ball to first, and Chambliss boots it. 3 errors for the Yankees today. So we will take that error and see what Gary Hancock has in store for Goose. He hits a ground ball to third, and that ends the inning. So we're not looking like we're going to have a late inning rally here, as we have a righty coming to the plate. We're going to bring in Replogle. He hasn't pitched in a while. He's been terrible as our closer. This is his 4th appearance. He's 0-1 with a 19.29 ERA. 6 hits in just 2 innings, giving up 5 earned runs. The reason why we gave him the closing role is last year he had 17 Ks in 18 innings, so I figured he would be someone who could just mow down people, as he did a great job in limited duty last year. Bucky Denton hits a ground ball to third, and that is the first out here in the 9th. Rupert Jones up next, hitting a fly ball into left center field. That will be caught by the left fielder, Steve Kemp. So 2 down for Joe Lefebvre, and Replogle walks Lefebvre. So runner on first base, 2-out walk. And Ron Hassey steps in and hits a line drive to right, which is caught. So a scoreless inning for Replogle. That's good. Hopefully he's on the right track once again. We're going to take out Tommy B. We're going to bring in Wayne Gross to pinch hit. Brookins only batted 156 last year versus righties. And Gross steps in, gets a base hit to center field. That'll bring up the tying run. Oh no, we're definitely not going to attempt to get thrown out at second. So runner on first, and you might think I should pinch hit for Wagner, but Wagner did bat .326 against righties last year. He did not face Gossage, though, and Gossage strikes out Wagner. That's the first out of the inning. So here's Stegman. Man, what are we going to do here? I guess we're going to let... Should we hit and run? We're going to let Stegman swing away. Stegman hits a ground ball right back to Gossage. And Gossage commits the 4th error for the Yankees. So runners on first and second now for Trammell. I kind of want to pinch run for Gross, but I don't think we have anybody on the bench that can play third. I guess we could shuffle the lineup around. Okay, so we're going to put Whitaker in there for Gross, and we'll figure it out if we tie up the game here in the ninth. So 1 down, runners at first and second for Trammell. Trammell gets a base hit to right. Oh, do we want to send him home? That's why he's in there. Yes, we're going to do it. And Whitaker is safe at home. So first and second now. We're down by a run on that RBI single by Trammell. And, man, this is a double play possibility with Thompson. But we've got to let him swing away. And he hits a line drive down the right field line. And the Tigers win! Oh my gosh, we come back and win as Thompson drives in 2. I don't know what he did there. Well, I guess we'll have to see in the box score if he got a double out of that. But a comeback victory by Detroit, that was one we really needed. As we have a trade offer from the Twins. They want Shotzi, who's making big money after arbitration. And they're offering me a catcher. I mean, they're offering me 3 expensive players too, so that's just not going to work. So we're going to say no. And it's really too early in the season. I mean, unless it was for Rick Russell, I would maybe consider it. But at any rate, let's take a look at the standings. As there's a National League popping up there. St. Louis and Cincinnati are still in front of their divisions, and that win helps us keep pace with Baltimore. We're 2.5 back at 6-5, and that moves the Yankees to 6th place in the division. So as long as we're keeping the Yankees out of the race, that's a good sign. California kind of running away with the division at 8-3. Let's take a look at transactions. Nothing new of note. So let's go ahead and pull up the box score, and we'll get out of here. That was a really great victory, one we really, really needed. I guess we have to give the player of the game to JT, as he had that walk-off. I'm guessing that was a double. We'll take a look here. It was a walk-off double by Thompson. So great job by JT. The Yankees had almost as many errors as they had hits. So they played sloppy defense. Pitchers making 2 of those errors. Gossage takes the loss. 0-2 with that blown save. And Replogle gets a win, pitching the 1 inning of relief there, going 1-1 on the year. And a scoreless 9th, lowering his ERA, which is a minor contribution. So anyway, we appreciate the win, and thank you for watching. We'll be back tomorrow with the first game of the series against the Seattle Mariners. Until then, everyone, have a great night.